Hello, afternoon. Welcome to your afternoon rabble. No, I'm not Willie Irvin. No, I am not Martin. Sorry for the delay. Willie was having some technical difficulties. We could hear him, but he couldn't hear us. See, he's dialing in to the old mobile phone. He might need to upgrade and treat himself to a wee laptop there. I'm joined by Ash. We're not often on a lot, so how are you doing, Ash? I hope you're good.
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Enjoyed being back on the afternoon rabble yesterday. So sorry, folks, I'm back again for another shift. I hope you can survive the next half an hour with me.
We've always got plenty to talk about, Ash. Willie will hopefully try jump in if he can. If he can't, then it's just technical difficulties. We'll try and man the fort between for the next half an hour or so. So we'll give you your half an hour, 100% at least. I hope you're all well. Hello, everyone. Sniper. Who else have we got here? Gaz, Janet's in. Hello, guys. Welcome, and sorry for being late. Thanks for your patience. Right, okay. Ash was filling in what was going on before a little bit. I'm not able to keep as up to date as possible because there's stuff going on in my personal life that's I haven't been able to on as much. But I got a bit of good news the other day from Ash before I heard from anyone else that we'll be able to look forward to that Dundee United game because it looks like that guy might be away soon. And I was like, I had a temporary little buzz about me. I won't lie, Ash. I was smiling and cheering for a couple of hours. So was everyone else. Relief. You've already said yesterday what you thought about that yesterday to Martin. So I won't get you to rehash that. But really quickly, I'll mention just kind of my point on it at the moment. I was just relieved, like a lot of you guys. And Brian mentioned that. He said he was relieved. I was relieved as well. Really relieved. How that guy managed to actually get into football management in general is beyond me. And it's scary that he was able to talk his way into that. I'm good at talking my way into situations. You're good at talking your way into situations. Doesn't mean we're good football managers, you know. I think the guy is generally going to be finished in football. And I think our very own Wilf Marshall said he doesn't like celebrating managers getting sacked.
Yeah.
I get that. I don't want to celebrate it, but I also want to go get it right up you, Martin, because like I don't like you. Ultimately, I don't blame him though, Ash. I blame the board for signing him, for getting hoodwinked the whole time. Just to ask you really quickly, do you share that same thought that I do, that you're actually more pissed off with the board and the owners for what they've done, or are you sharing the blame between them and Martin?
I mean, I think there's a lot of blame to go around, but I think the statement yesterday that came out from the owners, I think, was really important. I think that starts to try and repair some of the damage that's been done. I think the fact that it was their signatures on it indicates that they're aware of the distrust that exists for Stuart in particular, but also for Thelwell. I think a lot of people started to aim their anger towards them, that it drifted as long as it did. So I do think that them doing that yesterday, giving us a little bit of indication of how involved they're going to be in the process for the new manager, I think is reassuring. But look, Trev, the whole experience has been bruising for everyone. Nobody comes out of this episode in a better position. Yeah, reputationally, we're taking a bit of a battering because we've sacked our fourth manager in 3 years. The board have got it wrong. Thelwell and Stuart have got it wrong. Martin got it wrong. He was wildly out of his depth at Rangers. And I do think you can separate him as a football manager, as a person. Nobody likes to see anybody lose their job. But on the flip side, he didn't really endear himself as the manager of our club. I don't think a lot of people had a lot of nice feelings about him being the manager for any longer. So you can be comfortable that he's gone without celebrating that he's lost his job. And let's be honest, he'll be well looked after with the contract that I'm sure that he negotiated when he came only a few months ago. So for me, we just move on. And yeah, that's exactly right. You got to focus on the future and making sure we get it right next time round.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I don't want you to rehash everything there. We'll kind of move on and talk about what's been happening the last kind of day or two. I haven't heard you. I know they talked about this yesterday, but I haven't had your opinion on this one, Ash. The statement from the chairman and vice chairman that was released yesterday, I liked what they said. I liked, I was saying all the right things, that we made a boo-boo. I would like them to have said, why did it take as long as it did to do what they done? And then I would have fully accepted the statement. So I'm mostly happy with it, but not 100%. Can you give me your thoughts on that statement? Are you happy, unhappy, a bit of both?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's clever from them because they know that the communication would land better coming from those guys rather than Thelwell or Stewart. So there's a little bit of an awareness of what's going on at the club, which I like. The other thing that I really liked was the accountability. You know, pretty much very early on in the statement, they quite openly admit that they got it wrong. So I think that's really important, that there's no ego there. They accept that they've made a mistake. They've not gone into detail as to how that mistake happened. I mean, I don't think that the way that they emphasise how involved they're going to be in the next recruitment process makes me think that whilst they would have had a level of involvement before, my impression is that they probably rubber stamped Russell Martin's appointment rather than be the ones that necessarily drove it. I think they gave a lot more leeway to Thelwell and Stewart to make that decision. And so this time I think they've sort of said to fans, look, we get that you're unhappy, we get that you're disappointed in what's happened, so we're going to take much more of an active role and support these guys to make sure the next person we bring in is, you know, of the right quality to be Rangers manager. So I think they've done a really good job. I'm pleased with it. I'm also pleased that they've done it quite quickly and didn't let it drift for days and days with no indication as to what's happening. We all know the recruitment process has started, but I think them being quite clear about it is important. So for me, it's about starting to disappear that relationship because obviously there has been quite a big letdown. Their first hurdle, they've kind of fallen.
Yeah, it's surprising how quickly they actually did fall, literally at the first hurdle. And I was expecting them to make a boo-boo a little bit further down the line, not as quickly as this. I mean, they've got to set eyes on them. Why are they waiting so long? Like, that was ridiculous. But ultimately, while I don't like Russell Martin, he didn't hire himself. He was picking by Stewart and Thelwell, who I don't think have a clue how to run a fish shop, never mind Rangers Football Club. So they'll get another chance. We know that, because otherwise they would have left by now. The chairman, vice chairman would have went, see you later. But they haven't, so they're getting another chance. So as Ali's saying here, Stirwell, I love it. They should be booted, but they won't. Bigger problem than Martin. Is this the time that they actually have to get it right, Ash? Like this next appointment has to work for them. Otherwise they're on trial and they may get booted next as well.
I think if you read between the lines of that statement, I think there is an acknowledgement there that I don't think the owners are particularly happy with how the managerial appointment has gone. And that much is obvious because Martin's been sacked. But the fact that they, you know, not to repeat myself, but the way they emphasise how involved they're going to be really does, to me, indicate that they know that they need to provide more support to make sure the decision that's made this time is the correct one. So I don't think there's any doubt, Trev, if this appointment isn't right, then those guys will potentially be out of a job, because you can't make that many crucial mistakes that early on in your career at Rangers. You just don't get that time. And for it to all unravel in 123 days is probably worse than any of us thought, you know, could be. We had some pretty low expectations when Martin was appointed, but it unravelled in such a catastrophic way that, yes, he's gone, but the stink of his appointment and what he's done over the first few months of the season will linger until they get the right man in post and prove that to us.
Yes. Yeah, 100% right. I have to agree with everything you said there, Ash. I bring up a couple of things that people have put down. I've got Vix, I've got your question there saved, so don't worry about that. Trev, how would you feel if Stewart and Thelwell got it wrong again? Just touch on what I said a moment ago and what Ash said a moment ago. If they get it again, that's it. You are fortunate to get another crack of the whip here because you've just come in the door, or it was your first major announcement before you made a boo-boo in it. So now you get the chance to fix it, but you don't get another chance after that. I think you should then resign or get sacked if that's the case. So let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Cammy, did Stephen Gerrard tweet out hello? I don't know, but I hope he did, because we are the people. And then we've got this from Test Video HD, which that will tie into Vix's question in a moment. There's been chat. McInnes is open to it, but he won't throw his hat in the ring. Could be open to it if approached, though. And then that takes me on to Vix's question. is today's Rabble title just clickbait, or is there some substance happening that we don't know about? Well, Vix, I asked Ash the same thing because I didn't think I was hosting today, so I normally do a little bit more research and preparation when I'm going to do that. So due to technical difficulties, I don't mind. I'll gladly host, especially when it's with Ash. So all good there. So I said to Ash before, like, what I've not read this anywhere, I've not heard anything. But Ash, you said there was something in TalkSport about it that maybe give us a glimmer. So it's maybe partly clickbait then?
Yeah, so apologies. It might have been TalkSport, but it was certainly a radio station, and there was what I believe is a fairly, and take that word as you want to, a reputable journalist down south who had said that apparently he's been hearing that Derek McInnes will not actively seek the role, but would be very much open to that if Rangers were to make an approach. Now, he's in a very, very difficult situation because he's on to a very good thing at Hearts. He's had an excellent start to the season, and actually that might be a club where he can really enjoy some success and maybe try to recreate some of what he did at Aberdeen. Whether that was successful or not, I guess, is relative because we weren't in the division at that time. But, he's got a really good thing at Hearts. He's got the backing of Tony Bloom and all the kind of infrastructure that he brings behind him. So he's not going to upset the apple cart, in my opinion, to actively tout his name for the job, because what happens if Rangers go in a different direction and then you've damaged the relationship with Hearts. But if Rangers made an approach to Hearts and could somehow negotiate a deal to release him from that contract, the journalist suggests that he would want to make that move. So it's very, very interesting. I didn't really think that was a realistic option. I kind of thought that was pie in the sky. But if that's what that journalist is seeing, I guess we'll hear more about that in the next couple of days if that's a reality.
Well, the whole thing with McInnes. First of all, and it might sound a bit childish, I didn't care. You say no to Rangers, you lose that chance forevermore as a player or a manager, for me, right? We're bigger than that one person. And I don't know the ins and outs of why he said no before. Maybe the goalposts were moved last minute. I won't be surprised. Maybe something else happened. Maybe he chickened out. I don't know. It's just hearsay and whatnot, so I can't fully comment. However, you say no to Rangers, not for me, especially last minute, especially when Walter Smith recommends you as well. So, no, not for me. I can't see him coming to us. I believe what was being reported, because I think he's a Rangers man. I don't know if he's a Rangers supporter as a boy, but obviously he played with, so I think he's a Rangers man. But he's on a good thing with Hearts, Ash. He's doing a really good job with them. He's found his level of club outside Old Firm. He's managing a really good team, probably arguably the third best team normally in Scotland. They deserve that.
Actually, the best team at the moment, if you look at the league table, I believe. Yeah, I know.
True,
tongue in cheek. Why would he drop down to 8th place? And of course, I'm going to get absolutely pelters for that in the comments box. But no, you're right. They've had a great start to the season. You're spot on.
No, you wouldn't. I think what happens is Rangers would possibly approach Hearts, and then Hearts will go, cheery bye the now. Thanks, but no thanks. I think that's how it would play out. Yeah. They say, we're not even giving you permission to speak to a manager, and that's a wee bit different from a player, isn't it? Like, give you permission. I don't know if a manager's allowed to speak to another club. I don't know. Legally, probably not, but they do it like players do it behind backs.
Yeah. And I suppose that this is where the challenge will be, is McInnes isn't going to have behind the scenes conversations with Rangers in case that leaks out, and Rangers are going to have to negotiate with Hearts before even really necessarily knowing if he really, really is serious about the job. So I just can't see it happening. I think Hearts are in a financially strong position that they don't need to make that deal, and also they're trying to sell. You've got to remember, Tony Bloom came up in the summer and said that he wants Hearts to win a title in the next 10 years. You can't really make that kind of declaration and then lose your manager that's got you top of the league to what they would consider a rival. We probably wouldn't in the grand scheme of things, but the current state of affairs they see as a rival this season. So I just don't think it's going to happen, in my opinion.
I agree as well. The amount of money it would take to free him as well, Hearts would ask for top dollar, and rightly so. But we will get to a couple other suggestions and names before. Sharpie's saying Hearts will fall off a cliff this season. I'm not so convinced. It could happen because it happened with Aberdeen, and it happened with Aberdeen because they don't have the squad depth. If they had the squad depth, they would have probably kept challenging for a lot longer. Hearts, I don't know their squad depth if they've got more of the same in reserve. Probably not. So if it's the similar to the Aberdeen thing, they probably will fall away. But for me, do you think they'll fall away, Ash, or do you think they'll do a better job than Aberdeen did last season?
I mean, Aberdeen didn't just fall away; they collapsed, didn't they? They were a mess and didn't win for about 20 odd games, and I didn't enjoy that, honestly. So no, I don't think they'll do an Aberdeen. I think that would take some, you have to go some distance to do that. Will they maintain their current level of form? It's questionable. They've had quite a few late wins, and you could look at that and say, well, that's luck more than design, or you could argue that it's the sign of a team that can go on and achieve something if they've got that never say die attitude. So, I think the mess we've made of our start to the season means that our focus really now is on beating them into second place and hope that Celtic stutter and give us a chance to at least have a serious discussion about a title challenge. But no, I think Hearts are going to be bothersome for us this season, and I think they've got a few good players. That Braga looks like a good player, and Shankland, we obviously know what he can do. So, I think that put it this way, the games against Hearts this season I think will be interesting. They always give us a game, and they've got a decent squad together this year.
Aye, no, they certainly do. I've got a soft spot for Hearts. Like I'm through in Edinburgh. You're not too far away from them either. I don't mind them, but get back to third place, Hearts. You know your position. Vix has just said here, and thank you. A couple of you have said this. Listen, if I miss the odd comment or question, I apologise. Some people are putting a capital Q at the start, which I'm looking for. So I'll bring up what I can, but there's obviously a lot of comments, so bear with me, guys, and be patient. Vix has said here, Walter told McInnes not to go because of the board at the time. He had the team sheet picked for the next game and was set for the job until the Godfather told him not to. And then Aldo saying something similar, but he was a Morton man. So that makes sense. That's why his loyalties are probably not with Rangers first and foremost, despite playing was he got told by Water not to take the job. So this is making a bit more sense. That board at the time, we knew were a bin fire. I wasn't a big fan of them, despite what they did do. So yes, he was probably right to do that. And if Walter says don't take it, of course you listen to the man. So that makes sense, guys. I didn't know that. That makes complete sense there. And then someone's got a question there. Stephen Armstrong, can someone tell me, please, why Kavanagh didn't block Thelwell's son being employed? Simple, Stephen. Jobs for the boys. Jobs for the boys. Have you got an opinion on that one, Ash? Do you think it's them just knowing the people that they're hiring and going, okay, come in and do a job? Or you just think that it's jobs for the boys?
I think he could have been the best qualified candidate and you still can't make that appointment in the current climate at the current time. It's just not what companies with good governance do. And I think it's probably not helped by the fact that every other appointment we've made seems to have some sort of personal connection to Thelwell or Stewart. I don't think that's a good look either. So the reason Kavanagh probably didn't intervene is because he's been convinced that this guy is good at his job, and he might be. So I feel like he's maybe getting a bit of unfair heat. But you just can't hire your son in such a high-profile job when you've only been in the door 2 minutes. So I don't like it. When the guy comes in, I wish him all the best and I'll get behind him. But the whole thing just doesn't quite smell right to me, and was just another own goal that Rangers have a propensity to score against themselves every so often.
Okay. Mike McInnes is a Rangers fan, always has been. Okay, there you go. Conflicting things. I don't know if Morton was his first club, maybe, but he was always a Rangers supporter. I don't know. I always thought he was a Rangers man, actually, to be honest with you. So that is interesting.
I think it's fair to say that he leans our way now, which is the main thing. That's the main thing. That
is the main thing. Question from Steve-O. Steve-O Pirate. That is a brilliant name, mate, and a beautiful picture, I've got to say. Is Team Gerrard the preference if McInnes can't or won't come? Dyche gives me the fear. Right, so let's talk about that. Jesus Christ. I said this to Ash before. I went, if Dyche comes in, I'm going to probably have to wash my eyes out with bleach, because we will get the wins, probably, but it'll be horrible. If he come in temporarily, like maybe to stabilise us to like January or the end of the season, maybe, because we do need stabilisation at the moment. But I'm looking longer term, and Sean Dyche is an improvement. McInnes. I mean, my God love her. My granny, who's no longer with us, is improvement on Russell Martin. So you would take Sean Dyche if it was between Sean Dyche and Martin, but no, we need to get this right. So for me, Martin, Dyche won't come. I hope he doesn't. McInnes, no chance. The most likely chance is Gerrard. And Ash, you said this, I think, yesterday as well. You thought, actually, no, you thought it would probably be Gerrard, but you thought probably Sean Dyche would come, if I'm right in saying. Can I double check that?
So I think I want it to be Gerrard now. I originally had said that I would have fancied a crack at Muscat in the summer.
Oh,
but
Muscat,
I think,
yes.
For me, Gerrard, I mean, what does this team lack? We probably could fill 5 hours of what this team lacks, but things like character, accountability, leadership, respect for the club, all of those things. And I think that Gerrard instills that in abundance if he comes back to the club. And I think he's the kind of figurehead that the squad and the fans could get behind. So for me at the moment, I have to be convinced why it shouldn't be Gerrard. And I know a lot of people point to his managerial record after he left us. And whilst I do understand that, I kind of look at it slightly different and say, not everybody's good enough to be a Premier League manager. There's a reason. There's a reason why there are only a certain number of people that are good enough to manage at that level. And maybe Gerrard just, he was a fantastic player, but maybe he's just a very good manager in a very specific set of circumstances. Maybe he's a good fit for Rangers, and Rangers are a good fit for him. So I don't really worry too much about Villa. And I think Saudi Arabia was more of a lifestyle decision rather than led by football, because he could have got a job in the Championship in England, I'm sure, after Villa, but he made the decision obviously to go into a completely different world and try a different culture and all that kind of stuff. So I think that probably was non-footballing reasons. So yeah, if you're asking me what body of evidence do I look at when I'm evaluating Gerrard, it's more what he did at Rangers versus what he did at Villa and Saudi, to be honest, or in Saudi.
If you recall, Ash, at the time when Gerrard left, I was raging. I was like, you're charlatan this and get to F, and you leave us. We're doing great. We're 6 points clear of them, and we're doing well in Europe. And, the first Premier League club that drops its knickers, you leave. That's not cool. You should have done it at the right time, like the end of the season, January, but he didn't, so I was pissed off. But then we found out more about it, that while he did jump at the first chance, he also wasn't getting the backing that he was, I don't know if he was promised it or not, but he wasn't getting the backing he wanted. He said the famous saying, fix the roof when the sun is shining. No one listened to him, so he went, right, do you want to know something? I've had enough. I wish we had this current board in at the moment, because they would have said, do you need the backing? All right, okay, we'll prove that just now. Russell Martin, he decided to have a small fortune to spend. So the backing is there. This is why, Ash, I think Gerrard is the main man to come in. I don't know if it's anything to do with this tax thing. I have no clue, Aldo, how that works. I thought that had already been and gone, and he was okay to work in the UK, but his missus wanted to stay out there because the lifestyle was good for another year or two. I don't know. And you said, Ash, you think you would probably take him back, and is all forgiven for you, or what?
Yeah, I mean, the way he left wasn't the best. He left, I believe, just before the semi-final against Hibs, where we got, in fact, I'll not repeat the score, but it wasn't a good result for us. And obviously he left us in a position where we were a few points ahead in the league, and then that all kind of unravelled quite quickly after he left. So look, no, I don't think he gets a complete buy for leaving, but the point you've made there is quite important. He made it clear that summer that he needed investment to go on and build the squad and develop it. And bearing in mind, if my memory is right, the squad he left with Gio's coaching got us to a Europa League final. A lot of that squad was a squad that Gerrard had assembled. So that squad, I think, was capable of going on and becoming a real force. They just never really got the opportunity because he left, and we had more kind of managerial upheaval. So, the other thing I think is important is his family didn't move to Glasgow with him. So he spent, 3 years up and down the M6. And I know for some people...
It's not that long though, is it? It's like, how long did it take to drive to Liverpool?
I know, but you're not, and again, I'm not, because these guys are paid handsomely, but I'm just saying sometimes, in life, these things come up. Yeah, you can't pick your kids up from school. You're not there for all the dance classes and football classes and all that kind of stuff. So I do think that probably that was a factor in why he wanted to move to Villa. And ultimately, he saw it as a channel in a way to get to Liverpool. If he did a good job at Villa, Klopp was leaving in a few years, then I think that's what drove him. So I think you could look at the past and you could be disappointed in that, but you can also look to the future and say, well, is he the right man for the job now? And if you believe that's the case, I think you can look past what happened previously.
Yes,
Red card.
very true. Red card. That happens to the best is actually happens to the best is. Couple of interesting comments have come in since. Sean is saying, get Frank Lampard. I don't think it'll be him. Although Souness did recommend him first and foremost. So if the Godfather suggests something like that, you kind of listen, and maybe they should have listened instead of going for Clement. But no, he's Coventry's that. He's doing a good job. So no, it won't be him. But it's not the worst suggestion I've ever heard, to be fair. It's going to be Billy, it's going to be Dyche. Yeah, that's my fear, mate, because he's worked with Farewell and that before. And no, like you heard my point and Ash's point several moments ago about that. So I fear the worst as well, man, because that's like sticking a plaster on the wound rather than actually properly fixing it. So,
Trev, would this be the worst time to interject and say that same interview I referenced earlier about Derek McInnes also said that Thirlwell had already spoken to Sean Dyche? Would that be a bad time to?
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah, oh good God, and Govan, man.
Again, I don't know the truth of that, but I'm just sharing with you what I saw on Twitter / X, whatever it's called today.
Put a smile on their faces. Just get the liver-puddling God back in. I forgive them, so it's okay, Rangers. You can re-sign them again. It's fine. From Paul here, McCorkle, Trev, did you hear what Gary Mack said last night? Never say never about coming back. I did, and the smile on his face. Of course, I don't read too much into it, but it's nice to hear that. I don't think he probably has been approached by Gerrard yet, but he would say aye. Yeah, of course he would. Of course, I don't think he's doing much at the moment, so I think he'd probably say aye.
Just sorry on that point, Trev. I suppose, and it's maybe not for today, but Jackson Bowe, that's exactly the point I was going to make. Is that the backroom staff when Gerrard was here, I think, was a big part of our eventual success. And I've seen a lot of people say that the deal breaker for them with Gerrard is Beale not being part of that makeup. So that is one that I don't know how that would kind of unfold if that's part of the discussion, because I don't know what fans' reaction would be. I can guess.
Get someone else in. He's worked with other people apart from Beale when he went to the Middle East, when he left Villa after a little while, Beale. So I don't know who it was that came in to replace him, but there's other people, man. Listen, if that's a compromise, we only get Gerrard back if Beale comes. I can't stand that car salesman. I can't. But we'll probably never see him. He won't be on doing interviews and stuff because he'll be a coach. So it'll just be like, you coach, the manager will be on. I can put up with that, but I still wouldn't be comfortable with it. So it is what it is. And Vix is saying here, a couple of good points. Stevie G needs us as much as we need him. Yes, he needs to rebuild his career, doesn't he, Ash? Effectively.
He does, and obviously he's had success here. He was loved here. I think he loves the intensity and the scrutiny that is on him at Rangers. He's the kind of guy that thrives in that. Whereas I think Russell Martin was completely swallowed by the off-field stuff. He was just never the kind of character to be able to live up to that. Whereas I think it gets Gerrard's juices flowing. So Vix is right. Yep. I think there's a lot of benefit for Gerrard coming back here and trying to continue where he left off.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we're nearly done there, but I had to put it on. You cracked me up with your comments, Vix. Brilliant.
Poetic. Absolutely. Poetic.
It's just kiss and make up. It's fine. It's like, just put a prenup in there and you'll be sorted. You know what I'm saying? And then we do have a question from Colin here that I want to bring up. It'll be the last point that we talk about. Whoever comes in, will they get the same level of backing, though? My quick answer is I think yes, because they know they need to get it right. They can't throw money at it because of the financial fair play, but they might still have a bit more wiggle room. Actually, maybe not so much with the bloody £10 million signing, Trimiti, but as long as they don't go above that, they've still got a little bit of cash maybe to play with, so they will get some backing. I think the first mandate will be, Ash, we obviously can't do anything to January, so please stabilise what you've got, see what you've got to work with, fix that, because there are some good players there. We've seen it with Ant-Man, his first game before it was coached out of him. Most of those players are cracking players. They just need coached properly and some confidence put back into them. I'll be fine. So do you think they'll get the same level of backing?
I think to a certain extent they're going to have to, because if you look at our back four, 3 of them are not going to be here most likely next season. So we've made some crazy decisions in terms of squad building for the future. So yes, they will need a level of investment. But I agree with you, Trev. You know, I think that there's a lot of quality in that squad. We've not seen it. It's not been coached well enough for them to show that. The question, though, is do these guys have the heart to play for Rangers? And I think that's something you can level at them so far, because I think there's a lack of character in some of them, not to be disrespectful, but they might have the quality, but can they play on a Saturday in front of 50,000 people? So there will be squad turnover when the new manager comes in, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. And will we shop anywhere but the English Championship? That will be something to watch out for.
Oh God, yeah, no, I'm sick of this. Don't get me started on that. That'll be a bloody hour-long podcast. Brian was telling me to check the WhatsApp there. I think I had a quick swatch there, Brian. I see something about Dyche has ruled himself out. I don't know if that's the thing you wanted me to bring up. And that is excellent news. Thank God for that. Ian was saying, TalkSport just mentioned tax issues for Gerrard. Still, really? Are you not rich enough, mate? Just take a bloody hit, man, honestly. If there was something else there, mate, I apologise. But that's all I could say really, really quickly, because you never text me directly. You put it in the group chat and there's about 10 million messages unread in there. So, I think we will call it there. Sorry if I missed out any points from you guys or any questions. We just ran out of time, but we're back most days. We're back with this tomorrow. Actually, has he got it? He keeps changing his bloody mind. I actually don't know if it's every day the afternoon rabble or he takes Wednesdays off. I don't know. But you guys will know better than I do. Half an hour to go, Trev. Martin changed it. Aye, very good, gallant. I'll crack the jokes, pal.
Double shift today, Trev. Did you not get the text? It's in the WhatsApp group.
You're at it, man. You're absolutely at it. Yeah, Brian confirmed that's what it was. So Sean Dyche has ruled himself out, thank God. Although that's not 100% given. You take that with a pinch of salt. Of course you do. If they give him the backing and the money and the sweet talk him, he's maybe just playing the game very carefully. I hope to God he doesn't. We're going to sign off there, guys, but if I could ask those that haven't already to give the pod a quick like, because we have nearly 1,300 people in here at the moment, and even if half of yous put a part-time Trev, shut up. And Aldo, you're at the wind-up, mate. If only at least half of you put a like in there, you'd help Martin out big time. But yeah, we'll call it there. Ash, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, pal.
Always a pleasure, folks. Thanks for your comments as usual, and have a good afternoon.
Yes, and we'll see you back again soon. Thank you very much, people, and see you later.